Hi everyone, I'm Lim Xing Zhi and I'm here to present my final year project, Smart Contract Applications for Web Devices. My supervisor is Dr. Ng, so let's start. The purpose of this project is to develop a proof of concept application that solves SME problems. It will help SME owners to solve problems related to contract enforcement and also related to payment between SMEs and their service providers. Some constraints and assumptions of this application. This application will look into contract enforcement and payment. It assumes SMEs will adopt this system alongside the existing IT or paper systems to run part of their business operations. It assumes that SME owners and staff have basic IT knowledge and their IT knowledge is sufficient to at least use a web browser. So what does this application do? It enforces a smart contract between SME and a service provider. For example, a bakery pays a courier to deliver some pastries to a customer. The SME owner will deposit the payment into a smart contract during creation, and an email with a uniquely generated link will be sent to the customer. When the customer receives this service, they will click on the link and the smart contract will release payment to the service provider. So now, let's start and see how we can use this application. I'll run this application against a local blockchain server. The first wallet will be used by the SME, and the second wallet will be used by the service provider. So I will sign up with my school email. And then after signing up as a merchant, I will have access to the merchant portal where I can put in my private key for the wallet. In this case, that will be this one. It's important to note that the private key will be encrypted locally in the browser via ASE. So we can give it a full payment. We can give it a late payment date, which I will set to the 2nd of December. So what the expiry date does is when the payment is done after the expiry date, instead of the full payment being released to the service provider, only the late payment amount will be released to the service provider. The remainder will be returned to the SME owner. And then for the contractor wallet, I will just copy from the second wallet in the local blockchain server. For remarks, I will just put some remarks for customer. Cupcakes, 400 cupcakes. And then I'll put in a customer email. In this case, I will also use my school email. And then when I click submit, you can see a new entry is created within the Firebase database. This contains a wallet address of the smart contract that we just created, so we can query about its current status. For example, we can see that it's pending, which means the service provider is still executing the service and the customer haven't released the payment yet. We can also choose to release the payment directly as SME owners. This is in the event where the customer might lose the link and things like that. So going over to the contractor portal, there is no authentication needed for the contractor. All they need is just to insert their private key. Their public key will be generated, and then we will go to our database and look for all the relevant contracts that contains their public address. Right, sorry, it requires their private key. Yeah, right, sorry, it requires their private key. So as you can see here, it's a very similar table from the merchant portal, so we can also refresh to get the latest status and things like that. So now that the smart contract is created, the customer will receive an email containing a unique link that can release the payment. It looks a little something like this. So you can see that it's in the junk folder right now because I'm using a free email service. It points to a server where I have a node application running that interacts with the blockchain. So when I click on this link, what will happen is it will do a GET request with this unique signature over here that releases a payment, and this is the wallet address that it's trying to target. Over here you can see that the payment is issued, and then if you go over to the merchant portal, right now the status is pending, and then when we refresh, you can see the status is paid. And because both of them uses the same Firebase database, updating in one will reactively update both of them. So we can see it from another scenario also. You can see it again. So right now the status is now, and the status is now here, and when I refresh, both of them are updated pending. So yeah, so that's a demo of our application. I believe my application achieved the project goals originally intended. It solves SME problems related to contract enforcement. It is accessible for SME owners with minimal IT knowledge and hardware to implement.